Bluff City Media presents the Two Bucks Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Two Bucks Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you here on a sunny July 4th morning with my colleague, Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck, how's your holiday shaping up?
Man, it is all sunny, sunshine, and rainbows over here in North Mississippi. We are trying to pack the kids up, pack the van and the truck up to go enjoy a weekend of camping. So we're gonna get out the door here as soon as we wrap up here.
Uncle Buck and his family have decided they're going to go sweat out an entire human for the weekend while the rest of us civilized folks sit in the air conditioning, I guess.
Some people will pay for a gym membership so they can sit in a sauna or a steam room. In Mississippi, we just go hang out outside.
Mississippi is God's steam room because the humidity there you can cut with a knife. I've never been to another state. I've lived in other states, Tennessee, most recently in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where the humidity is really not that bad. I don't want to hear my South Carolina folks in the comments hopping on and complaining about how bad the humidity is there because you know nothing after growing up in the great state of Mississippi. Uncle Buck is not wrong.
No, I think the only people that could have a claim to having worse humidity is maybe like some Cajuns down in Louisiana or something.
Probably so.
They're probably the swampy folks, you know.
That's it. So, well, again, if this is your first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. You know, we had an amazing turnout for our show last week. Shout out to the NBA draft for propping up two rednecks from North Mississippi and giving us some new faces in our audience. And so if you're back, welcome back. Our show will flow just like it did last week. We typically have our best beef section up first, which we'll get into here in a second. We're going to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies in the second segment. And then we got a special July 4th edition Mount Rushmore at the end. We're going to go completely off the cuff. We normally prepare for this. This is our second time recording this show this week. Some more funny details about that I'm sure will come out. But we're going to go off the cuff. We're going to do a July 4th Mount Rushmore for y'all. So hang tight. If you don't want to waste your time with our personal life, go ahead and hit fast forward now to that second segment. It'll be right after the commercial break where we'll talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. But for now, if you know us, you know our show starts with the best in beef of the week. So every week we talk about the best thing that happened to us in the week and the worst thing that happened to us in the week. We live pretty cushy lives, so you're going to hear a lot of first world problems. You're going to hear a lot of whining by some dudes who really don't have a whole lot to whine about as Uncle Buck is getting prepared with his baby to head out the door. So I'll kick us off with my best of the week. So if you follow this show, you know that my family means everything to me, and spending time with them is one of my favorite things to do. And so last weekend I had the privilege of going over, hanging out with my family, cooking out. We made tacos. We had family over. It was a great, great night. But the highlight of that was getting to teach the next generation about the great sport of baseball through wiffle ball. And so we got out in the yard and we're playing. It was me versus my three nephews. You know, I had the opportunity to teach them about baseball. It's so much fun. Like, you got to have somebody that teaches them the game, teaches them gamesmanship, teaches them sportsmanship and how to be a good sportsman. Well, that was not me on Saturday. What I taught my nephews is you don't hang a 1-0 curveball to the best hitter in the family, because I put my nephew Finn's curveball in Mimi's Daylilies to put the home team up 12-2. And mind you, I didn't have any fielders, but I was dominating these kids. I am not about to let them win. I am not about to bow down and let them beat Uncle Rusty because they'll never hear the end of it. Instead, I'm going to assert my athletic dominance until I can't no more. And so I pimped it all the way around the bases too, telling him, you don't bring that weak sauce here. Don't put that in my
Kurt Gibson.
Say again?
Did you give him the Kurt Gibson?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Run around first base with the arm pump. I had the Sammy Sosa heel click. I pulled out all the tricks to let them know that Uncle Buckets still has it.
Yeah. You know, I'm not one to take it easy on my kids at all in sporting events. They're going to beat me fair and square, but they're never going to beat me because, like Andy Bernard once said, I either win or I quit because it's unfair, and I will not let my kids beat me, and I'm not going to take it easy on them. So when it gets close, I'm going to give it all I got to beat them that last time, and then we'll never play again.
That's it. You know, it's funny. Every year I see this meme, or it comes up often, and it was like, wife, you should let your kid win at Mario Kart. Me, and it's a picture of Dale Earnhardt looking over his shoulder. Because I'm not about to take it easy on them, because there's going to come a day when they're more athletic and they can beat me in things. But that day is not today, and I'm going to milk that as long as I can.
Yeah. For me, my best of the week, I alluded at it last week on our show. because it was fresh and it had just happened. The news had just come off the wire. But me and my wife went on an adults trip to Six Flags in Atlanta, Georgia. We got to spend the whole day sweating and riding rides and climbing hills. I mean, just being active, being little kids, eating junk food. I got a pretzel. There was some Dippin' Dots were had. We just acted like little children and rode roller coasters all day last Saturday. It was beautiful.
How was Sunday? How sore were you on Sunday?
My head was sore because they made me take my hat off to ride the roller coaster.
Oh, no.
Another part of the beef is that, like, I wore a hat all day except for when I was on the roller coasters that last like 45 seconds. Over the course of like 10, 45-second roller coaster rides, my scalp got burnt because, as you know, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, we're hat fishing, you guys. We just wear our hats to cover up the bald spots on the top of our head. Okay.
We both are significantly propped up by the lid covers that we wear.
So that is my best of the week. It's going away the best of the week. We needed that, just time to get away and not, when you do something like engaging like that, it's one thing to like have a lazy Saturday or have a date night where you go to, dinner or whatever. But when you like get away and submerge yourself in like a fun activity, you truly forget about the problems and the bills and everything else. And we needed that.
Absolutely. So what goes up must come down. And we always follow up with our beef of the week. And so Uncle Buck, I took the first best. What's your beef of the week?
My beef of the week, I could really do some damage here, but I'm not.
Go ahead. Let me have it. Go ahead. Let her fly, because it was going to be part of my beef. Go ahead.
Okay. So, my co-host here, my illustrious co-host, the beautiful man that shares the screen with me once a week, called me about, 15 minutes ago.
Maybe.
And said, hey, you remember that show that we recorded on Tuesday night that we recorded early because you were leaving to go camping? Yeah, it's gone. So, we're like, all right. And I'm going to tell you, Buckets, you didn't hear this from me, but just text my wife and just be like, you're beautiful and I love you and thank you.
Drew, I need
it would get us both out of the doghouse.
Just confirm your zip code. I'm going to have some flowers shipped to your house.
That's not necessary. Yeah, my wife did oblige. She is currently loading up the truck right now doing my job because we didn't really get moving this morning like we thought. Every time you're planning for a trip, you never know exactly how much you've got to pack until you like start putting it in the car. Like, it's not even alarming as you're putting it in bags, but when you start putting it in the vehicle, you're just like, oh crap, this is a lot. So she's handling that for the time being while we knock this out for all of our lovely listeners here. And I would do it again. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
we love this.
And absolutely.
And we love the people that have tuned in. We owe it to you guys for a long weekend. You need the $2. I know you can't wait a whole week without us.
That's it.
I tell myself that anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you disagree, put it in the comments and we'll argue with you about it. And so to my defense, like for 7 months, we've been a part of Bluff City Media now for 7 months, which is just wild to me. And this is the first time they've gone through and cleaned out their library of recordings. Right. And like, I've never just instantly downloaded the show. I normally just close my laptop, go to bed, and then I deal with it the next day. And the one time I don't do that is when they decide to clean house for the 4th, doing a little spring cleaning over the summer. So our episode was deleted. Shout out to Kenny and Mark and Luke and whoever else took part in that. And so, my beef is that we're having to record the show again. I thought it was kind of a relaxing day, a lot of moving parts and things changing all over the place. And then find out like our show is just like, it's gone. So here we are recording again. So it's a good thing I like this co-host of mine. I get to hang out with him for another hour.
I could see the logic. Like, who in the world is going to record this weekend? Like, we've got days here where nobody, it's a long weekend. Nobody's going to want to record. Everybody's going to have the hay in the barn per se. To enjoy their weekend, except Rusty wanted to do his work on the holiday. So
I was gonna knock that out today, but apparently we're gonna have to knock it out in a different way. So not only am I gonna recording today, but then I get to play IT guy and get it posted. So thank y'all for bearing with us through the second iteration of the $2 Sports shows, all quiet on the Western Front. thank you for hanging out with us again here. And we'll kind of keep the show. You'll get a more condensed, concise version. This might be the only time that Drew and I regulate ourselves and don't go long-winded.
Yeah. If this is the best episode you ever heard, please let us know.
Yeah, because we can repeat this.
Yeah. So so that's it for our best of beef segment of the week. When we come back, we're going to take a break here. We're going to pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to talk about free agency in relation to our Memphis Grizzlies. And then in the third segment, we've got a fun little 4th of July themed Mount Rushmore. Rusty's going to surprise us with that. I'm not really sure. He just hinted at 4th of July or something. So we're all going to find out at the same time in our third segment. So please stick around. I know everybody's got long drives, seeing families over the weekend. Stick around with us throughout the whole third segment. We promise you'll enjoy it. But until then, let me tell you about Vicki Gann, CPA. If the name sounds familiar, it's because her name is my name. She is my mother. She is a certified public accountant with 25 years of experience. She does payroll, income tax, payroll for small businesses, anything IRS related. Vicki Gann can help you out. If you or anyone that you know and love uses QuickBooks or would like to start using QuickBooks for their small businesses, call Vicki. She will help you get set up. If you're already set up, she can help you troubleshoot any problem at all. She's very good at that. She's had plenty of education on it. She is who you need to talk to if you have any QuickBooks related questions. So if you need her, call her. Her phone number is 662-415-6446, or you can email her at vickiganncpa@gmail.com. That's VICKIGANNCPA@gmail.com.
I think people knew, at least towards the end of the year, Penny mentioned his mom being sick and battling throat cancer, I think it was, and different things. But like, he really opened up about it. I don't know that anybody knew about his mom having a stroke mid-season, leaves a shoot around, goes home to find his mom on the floor, and then had to basically leave her to still go coach a game.
It's crazy.
Like, I can't, it puts things into perspective. It's just like, some things are more important than basketball. And so, yeah, to your point of him being distracted or focused on taking care of or the health of his mother, like, totally understandable. So no wonder a part of him probably feels personally attacked. I think if that had been out, and I'm not saying he should have put that out, like, totally,
no,
his family,
absolutely not.
Privacy, whatever. I'm just saying, had it been out and people known that, I think he would have been given a lot more slack for what had occurred during the season.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
I don't know that there's been a more polarizing prospect in recent memory than Edey. I mean, everyone just had wild opinions on him. You find guys, people whose opinion I really respect in the draft community, who had Zach Edey number one. You'll also find people whose opinion I really respect who had Zach Edey in the 20s or 30s. So he was all over the place. I settled with him as a top 10 guy in this class. And, you know, I've told a couple people I kind of want to edit my draft board now and put him like top 3, because I just think the Grizzlies are a perfect fit for him. Like, this makes so much sense, and I think the more you think about it and the more you look at what he does well and what he brings, it's perfect, man. It really is a perfect fit.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the 2 Buck Sports Show. Thanks for hanging out with us through our personal segment there at the beginning. Now is what everybody's waiting for, our Memphis Grizzlies talk. You know, Drew, there's been a lot happening over the last week. Free agency has kicked off. People are moving team. People are getting the fever. They're getting excited. And if you read on Grizzlies Twitter, we haven't made a move yet. And everybody thinks that we're going to be in last place in the West. They just think that it's the end of the world. I saw a tweet yesterday. I retweeted it, and it said, whew, Chris Wallace would have put y'all in the early grave.
That's it.
And I mean, it's a state of affairs for the Grizzlies that, you know, we haven't made a move. We have a top, 3 roster in the Western Conference. I'd say top 5 roster in the Western Conference.
Yeah, top 5 potential. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody is losing their collective mind because we haven't gone and made a big splash for a PG or mortgage the farm for a Jared Allen. And so, I mean, what are your initial thoughts, man? Is Grizzlies Twitter right to be in a riot over this?
No. A lot of this, and let me defend them a little bit, because we just came off of a 27-win season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really hard to remember where we were at sometimes. A lot of times we're so short-sighted and have such a short memory that you think like, oh, we're a 27-win team. We need a lot of help. But we had a lot of injuries. We're not a 27-win team going into next year. We are the 2 previous years, we were the 2 seed in the West. You couple that with the fact that you do look around the league and you see Hartenstein and
DeJounte Murray,
Caruso going to Oklahoma City, and you see Clay going to Dallas, and you just see other people in your conference, in your division, making moves, and you're just like, oh man, like you want to be proactive instead of reactive, and so I get it. However, when I look back, I don't think we should be favored to win the West. I don't know that we should be a top 3 favorite to win the West, if I'm just being realistic. But we've got that potential, and we've got, if things break the right way, if Gigi progresses like we hope he does and we think he should, and turns into a blossoming superstar, and Vince takes another leap, there's pieces there that make a Western Conference Finals run very attainable as the roster is currently constructed. So I've always kind of appreciated the shrewdness a little bit, and maybe that's the wrong word, of Zach Kleiman. Like he didn't mortgage the farm to go up and get Donovan Clingan when he got Zach Edey later, or he's not going to go into the second apron to go pay Hartenstein or all these other things. He's going to make it work, but there's other moves out there. And so, no, we did not get the superstar, but I don't know that there's really any superstars other than Paul George that have even changed teams. Everybody's kind of re-signed, and the rest have been, a few really good role players, which, you'd like to have some of those. But outside of Caruso, do you want Klay Thompson? No. Casey, I'd like to have KCP, but, there wasn't really anything out there that I can make sense of. And you've got the Luke contract that's kind of in the air. And the fact that that's still in limbo as of July 4th makes me think that they're not done. Like they can't be done, or they would just cut him or sign him. Like it would be over. There's something out there.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of what you just said. I'm on the other side of that coin, though. Like I look at that we have one season between us and a 56-win season, and I think this team is constructed better than that team. We have a younger, more athletic Steven Adams potentially, and Zach Edey. We don't truly know what we have, but that's potential there. We have a better Dylan Brooks and Marcus Smart who can actually score and actually defend your best player, and is not going to try and murder somebody on TV like DB did Gary Payton Jr. I think this team is constructed better than that team. I think our floor, as constructed, this is assuming that Luke Kennard re-signs with no other moves. As our team is built now, I think our floor is 45, 50 wins. I think we have real potential to be a 1 or 2 seed in the Western Conference. I'll concede Oklahoma City right now because of some of the moves that they've made. They've improved on a really, really good team already. Dallas adding Klay Thompson doesn't scare me. I think we could beat Dallas in a 6-game series. I think we could beat Oklahoma City in a 6 or 7-game series. I'm not so sure. I think all these teams, honestly, and I may have some like Beale Street blue colored glasses on right now, and I own that. But like honestly, looking at these moves, it feels like they're trying to keep up with us to be able to defend the scoring of Dez and Ja slashing and want to crowd the lane with the Hartenstein. They need a big body to bang with Zach Edey. And like you said, like other than Paul George, no real superstars are moving, so no real splash signings are being made. We're now past that initial wave of free agency, and we're moving into the trade portion of the offseason. And so there's probably going to be some people that relocate on some big trades, and we might be involved. One that I like this, the Lauri Markkanen trade, like he's a stellar basketball player. Like I'm not, please don't hear what I'm not saying. Like he's incredible. I just think he's an awkward fit on this team because like, is he going to take Jaren's minutes? Is he going to he's a power forward who can stretch the floor a little bit. but I'm not willing to give up Gigi like some of these knuckleheads on Twitter are. Like, there's so many people that are instantly saying, oh, I would absolutely trade Gigi for him right now. Cool. Gigi Jackson is one of only 4 basketball players to score 30 plus multiple times at the age of 19 on a list with guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Sure, you're betting a lot on potential there, but that potential is pretty daggum great. And I'm just not willing to move. Like, there has yet to be a guy that has popped up where I'm like, man, I would give up a lot to bring him in, especially when, like you said, like there's going to be some peripheral moves because all we need is a backup big, a backup point guard, and some scoring help on the wing. Yes, we need to consolidate and get rid of some boneless wings and some dead money and Zaire and Jitty and maybe Laravia, which they've already said they're not going to get rid of. But if we can package some of those guys and some assets for like a Wendell Carter Jr., as I've spoke about numerous times on this network, that's a peripheral move that I think makes us better. I don't know that we need to go make a splash move for a superstar. I think at this point, the way this team is constructed, I believe in them. I believe in our front office, our coaching staff, maybe not so much our medical staff, but that's a conversation for a different day. But I believe in this team, and I think that maybe a peripheral move or two could be made between now and the trade deadline, which is well into the season. Like, don't let your hair catch on fire now because we're not making a move. We have plenty of time to fix any needs that we see next season.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on almost everything you said. You know, I do think that this team, given health as constructed, is a 45 to 50 win team. The scary part is in the West, that may get you the 6 seed, this year, the 5 seed, Sure. And so there's not a single team in the West that I don't feel like we can compete with fairly in a 7-game playoff series. I'm totally with you. You're counting on Edie. I still waffle on that. And we kind of went through our therapy session last week on that. I still just can't find myself. I can't color myself a fan yet, despite how hard I try. But I don't think that there's really there's other than the Mikal Bridges trade, there's not been one move that was made out there that I wish that we had done. Maybe the KCP, but they signed in free agency, I don't know how big of a target we were for him. We're kind of up against it with money wise, Orlando has everybody on rookie deals. I mean,
OKC, same thing.
Paulo, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, all of them except for Wendell Carter Jr. are on rookie deals. So they had the money to pay a vet like KCP, and we don't. And so same thing with Hartenstein in Oklahoma City. So there hasn't been one move other than maybe Mikal Bridges, and I've been on record saying I'd give up 4 first-round picks for him. I'd give up, think about 5. Turns out he just wanted to go play with his college teammates and for the Knicks. And so I think we're not done. And so to get upset with free agency where the class just didn't really seem that deep either. There wasn't, I'm going to be mad that Najee Marshall went to wherever,
Dallas.
Dallas, I just there's not been
honestly,
that move. And I'm happy with the roster. So make some fill the roles. And I feel like Zach Kleiman is happy with the roster. I think that's what we're forgetting. Like he could have swung for the fences. He could have given up everything he wanted to go move up to get Klingon, but he was thrilled to get Edie at 9 because he filled a need.
Yeah, and there's still going to be bigs that are available. I understand some of the frustrations of the Andre Drummonds and some of these people that move teams that we could have had a shot at, or that were mentioned by us, other people on this network, people on Grind City, wherever you get your Grizz content. But we don't really know like you said, Zach Kleiman is happy with this roster. We don't really know what his interest was in any of these people. He might really think that the combination of Edie, BC, and I'm sorry, folks, Jaren's still going to get minutes at the 5, might be the winning combination for us at the 5 position, that you got a big body Edie, you can stretch the floor with Tripp, and you got BC that's kind of in the middle of both of those. Because if you listen to Grits and Grinds, Keith Parrish's podcast, and if you don't, I highly recommend that you start. Even Shelby agrees that she's echoing my sentiments back here. Like he talked about we're 3 years removed from our best, our absolute best closeout lineup being Santi, Jaren, and BC at the 3, 4, 5, whatever combination you would put it in there. That was lethal. Like I looked it up, our plus minus was we were plus 20 with them on the floor, had an incredible winning record with them. And so Kleiman may just want to run that back.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think that's what I kind of land on with Zach Edey is, you just got to appreciate the role that he's going to play. And I do appreciate the role he's going to play. He's not going to finish games on most occasions, especially in nip-tuck games. Like you said, especially the two-man lineup with Jaren and BC is probably how you're going to end almost every close game because you can go 5 out. It makes more sense with Ja. And then just to show you my mindset when I'm talking about Zach Edey, kind of the reason why I didn't like Zach Edey is because he doesn't fit, in a wide open concept. So that's now in just one quick little blurb here, you've seen my constant ping pong with Zach Edey.
Well, what about this? Like, what if you got a night where he's absolutely cooking and just bodying Derek Lively in Dallas, and then you close out the game with him? We've done it with Mark. Yeah, Denver's done it with Jokic. And I'm not saying he's in that class, but like, there's going to be nights where he's going to win us some ball games because he's so big.
Yeah, and I think he's going to work great. We hate playing Boston. We hate playing Dallas because they turn it into half-court games. I think he will be absolutely a huge positive in a half-court game, which, we have not ever been able to be successful at because we don't shoot the three well. But if we could get in the mud with you with Zach Edey with a 7'5" center that can roll either way, finish with either hand, he can finish lobs even though he's a little slow-footed. I made the mistake of saying he can't finish above the rim. That's unfair. I just wonder about how quickly he could get to the rim, I guess is the better way of putting it. Anybody that's 7'5" can finish above the rim.
Yeah.
So
he ain't got to jump.
Yeah. So there are positives, and this isn't a Zach Edey podcast, but when we're talking about lineups and trying to add who we'd like to add into the Grizzlies rotation, it always kind of comes back to that for me because I still am kind of like, I was like, all over here.
Let's work. So last week we worked through Zach Edey together, and I felt like it was very productive for us and our audience to kind of like vent some of that. So here, let's do this. All right. So I'm going to take the Western Conference as a whole, and we'll talk about some of who we think will be in the playoffs next year. I want you to think about a Grizzlies 8-9-man roster as it's constructed now. So we're talking a starting 5 of Ja, Dez, Marcus, Tripp, and Edey. That's your starting 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Who we anticipate is going to be. Then let's say you've got Luke, BC, and who else? Gigi. There's your 3. And Vince. So we'll do a 9-man roster. All right. Which is what most of the time when we get to the playoffs, you're playing 8 or 9 guys with some fringe guys catching minutes here and there. So our starting 5
Kennard comes back.
Assuming Luke resigns, right? So we've got Ja, Dez, Marcus, Tripp, and Edey as our starters. Your 4-man bench unit being Luke, Gigi, BC, and who did
Santi.
I say? Santi, we'll say. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, or no, sorry, Vince, not Santi, Vince.
Well, then add Santi because he's going to
do 10. Okay, so again a shrunk lineup, whether it's 8, 9, 10. You at home play along, however you want to construct that bench unit.
Well, as we're currently sitting right now on July 4th, Luke Kennard is not on this team.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
so we'll just kind of keep him in the back of our mind, but proceed as if he's not here.
Sure. All right, so we're matched up with Oklahoma City in a 7-game playoff series. Do you think we can win that series? Based on that roster.
Yeah, but I do. But I lean heavily into experience factor with that. We've won 2 playoff series. We've been to the playoffs 3 times with Job. Well, I've been through play-ins, high leverage. Now play-in, everybody laugh, giggle, haha. But it's high leverage things, and you put out the Warriors. So I'm counting it. So
and you got Marcus Smart, who has had finals experience.
Right. And so I do think I do. Like I said, there's teams that I'm scared of is the wrong word that I respect. Oklahoma City is one of those. Denver is one of those because they've got Jokic. Minnesota, I respect Minnesota. I respect Dallas.
Which we're going to get all of them. But we're talking OKC. Like right now, how up and down with that roster do we match up well enough in your mind to win a 7-game series? Or is there somebody that you think like, man, if we had this extra position, if so-and-so was on our team or wasn't on our team, we would have a better position against OKC? Because I'm not real sure. I think we match up very well with Oklahoma City.
Well, I'd put it to you this way. If we had Edey and they hadn't signed Hartenstein, I think it'd be absolutely in our favor because they were so small. Now, Hartenstein's a great rebounder. And so that may level out a little bit. And so I think it's a competitive series. I'm not as right now, I think I'd have to see a lot of it. They're deep. I love their wings. Caruso or Dort. That they're going to be like tremendous on defense against Ja. That'd be an amazing series.
Feet to the fire right now. Who wins and how many games?
The Grizzlies in 4.
There we go. All right, what about Dallas? Dallas is another interesting team because they've got Luka, they've got Kyrie. Now they have Clay as a kick-out threat.
Yeah.
They've announced that Lively's going to be their starter, and Gafford's coming off the bench. PJ Washington getting big minutes. Dallas is not a big team. Luka is a bigger guard, but from there they don't have a ton of size. Clay is a smaller guy. Kyrie's a smaller guy. Gafford and Lively are both a little bit lighter in the center position. How do you think we match up there?
I think we match up well there on offense because I think that their defense is going to be extremely bad. Derrick Jones Jr. was their best on-ball defender last year, and they let him walk in free agency. Clay's come in, but he's not the defender he once was. He's more of a Ole defender trying to poke the ball from behind defender now. I don't know who's going to stop Ja in that matchup, and so, I like it. Half-court basketball always makes me nervous, which is why – Zach Edey, that's the series that maybe he's absolutely massive in. No pun intended.
Yeah, I agree. I think he makes us better in the half court, if nothing else, by sheer size. When you're 300 pounds, you can set some pretty mean screens. And he tested out in all the agility tests at the combine better than Donovan Clingan in lane quickness, agility test, 3/4 of the court sprint. So the guy's got some speed. Sure, he's a little slow-footed, a little clumsy when you're 7'5", like you're going to be. You're 7'4", you're going to be. But I think he's going to be able to finish pick and rolls better than people think. I think he instantly makes us better. And this is one of the series where it's like, man, we really need Luke. Because with Luke on our team, we're about 8 percentage points higher, more efficient, and field goal percentage with him in our half-court offense.
Well, and it helps that Lively's not a shooter because you're not – if he sags off in a pick and roll, if he's playing drop coverage in a pick and roll, they're not going to be able to really make him – Lively's not going to pop.
Right.
And so you can stick Edey on Lively.
This is one of those series where you can let Jaren be that ball hawk and float and do what he does best. And I think we match up very well against Dallas. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards sent Ja Morant a Father's Day card just a few short weeks ago because Ja has owned Minnesota. We beat him in the playoffs. Ja has cooked against Minnesota. Jaren sees red whenever he plays Rudy Gobert. I don't know what he has against Gobert or France or whatever, but here on America's Day, he cooks the big Frenchman. We've always matched up pretty well. Minnesota hadn't done a ton to get better. They lost Slow-Mo, one of their more reliable bench guys and better defenders. They added Rob Dillingham, which I like that pick, but it's probably 3 or 4 years away before he's a true creator for them.
I don't know. He may be a microwave off the bench. Which
he
I think
could.
Is what they're going to ask him to do. Yeah.
He can go on the heater. He did it at Kentucky, and he can get buckets. And so they're a good team. I think they've got a real chance to be back in the Western Conference Finals again. How do you think we match up with our 8 to 10 man roster?
I think we match up a lot better now than we did. I think that's another matchup where Edey could be huge because on defense rather. But on defense because he can guard Gobert one-on-one. Gobert's not going to pop. You can really sag off of him and have whoever's guarding Ant or whoever fight over screens and just let him sag off and play help. You can also, that's the thing that's going to be so, we still got the same team without Edey if you put him on the bench. And if you can have some of these guys, if you re-sign Luke Kennard and say Gigi and Vince turn into sharpshooters, uptick their 3-point average a little bit, Marcus Smart, up his average just a little bit. It's one of those teams too. We could go small and get Gobert off the court, like what happens in every single playoffs. We've still got the guys that can do that. So that's
where
the
that
biggest
Santi
asset that Edey is that he allows us to be multiple.
Yeah, and that's where that Santi, Jaren, BC lineup can come in handy for us to get Gobert off the court, turn it into a track meet, and we've got some of the best sprint on offense in the association.
And it's July 4th. It would not surprise me one bit by the time this show comes out on July the 5th at 3 o'clock that Karl Anthony Towns was not traded.
100%. Yeah, he feels like the odd man out up there.
That is a trade that could absolutely happen a blockbuster trade that could absolutely happen this offseason.
Especially with that contract. It's just silly what his contract is.
Reed.
Yeah. I mean, those two, either one of those guys could be gone, and it's just silly what they're paying. I'm pulling up what they owe Cat. They owe Cat 49 this year, 53, 57, 61. They still owe him 159 million guaranteed. Like, what a salary, man. I mean, who? Yeah.
Now look at Gobert.
You got Gobert for 43 and 46. He's only guaranteed 43 million. So 25, 26 is a player option. So he's only guaranteed 43 million.
So he could opt in
might
next
be the move.
year.
Yeah, he could opt in.
He may actually be
he might be the move because Naz Reid is owed 13 million. He's got a player option next year. Man,
but
the only people
he'll sign a big one.
Yeah, the only people that are guaranteed out are Ant and Jaden McDaniels through 2029. And then Cat is through 26, 27. In 27, 28, he has a player option at $61 million. That's just silly.
Just because we love him. What's Mike's contract situation?
He's owed 20.7, 9.9 this year, 10.7 next year, fully guaranteed.
Okay. So yeah, that's where I stand. I don't think that there's any team that should be projected to make mincemeat out of the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Now, I think but also I don't think the Grizzlies should be favored to make mincemeat in a 7-game series we're talking about against any of those teams. I think the West is going to look like the West looked like last year. If you don't, the last day of the season, the top 3 seeds were tied.
Yeah.
Like it came into tiebreakers and you add the Grizzlies into that. That's how I feel like it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, the next 3 teams that I was going to talk about before we move on were the Pelicans, the Nuggets, and the Kings. And the Pelicans have gotten better, adding DeJounte Murray, but they lost JV. They don't really have another true big by Zion, and Zion's always hurt by the end of the season.
They've got
CJ McCollum, who is Larry Nance, and Herb Jones, who's a really, really, really good defender with a developing shot. CJ McCollum is the notorious Grizz killer, but
Grizz killer. He was awful against us.
I guess this
year.
Yeah.
The Pelicans, they can scare me a little bit, but it's all going to be Zion dependent again. They have increased their floor. They have increased their floor substantially with the addition of DeJounte Murray. I think he's great. I think he's going to work well with Zion. But the team, if they're going to compete in the West, and we're talking potential Western Conference Finals team, Zion's going to have to be healthy. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to put them in the next category without him. I don't really like the role players as much. Herb Jones is fine. He's a really good defender. They got rid of Dyson Daniels. I'm trying to remember the other.
They got Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins.
Murphy. Yeah. So, I don't like the role players as much, but they've got potential to grow. They're all young too. They could break out.
And there's a really good chance that Brandon Ingram is moved, and he might be moved in a trade that gets him that other big piece.
And I'll tell you, if you can get something playable and get off Brandon Ingram, you may be a contender.
Yeah, because they owe him $36 million this year. So last year in his contract when it's fully guaranteed, he's one that has been trade rumors are heating up around Brandon Ingram. That's for sure. I think we match up better. Like the Nuggets have done nothing to get better. Like they're still got Jokic. No. They still have the best player in the world, but they've done nothing to get better. They're actually getting worse, especially with the rumors coming out that Jokic wants to sign Russell Westbrook. Yeah, that doesn't help them at all.
That's ugly.
They got rid of some of their shooting with KCP. They lost Bruce Brown last year. I mean, I guess they're banking on the continued development of Christian Brown, Jamal Murray,
Ja'Cory Hawkins.
Ja'Cory Hawkins
was a rookie last year. So my big thing when you've got a dominant big man like Jokic, you've got to have somebody for him to kick it out to that can shoot threes. Bruce Brown was fine. He wasn't great. He was more of a do-everything guy, the Anthony Melton type for Grizzlies fans. But KCP was at times a knockdown shooter. Eric Gordon is not a shooter. Jamal Murray is a shooter. But you're looking at, running out a 5-man lineup that has at least 2 non-shooters.
And Michael Porter Jr. is so streaky. He's so streaky.
Yeah,
he can be hot. He can be not. Yeah.
And so I think they're going to have to make a move. If they're moving with Russell Westbrook, coming off the bench, that's, could work. But that doesn't make me – adding Russell Westbrook doesn't make me think you got better. In the 2 years since they've won the title, they lost Bruce Brown one offseason. The next offseason, they lost KCP, and they didn't really add anything except for through the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And they don't, I mean, Jokic will always scare me because he's the best player in the world. But outside of him, they don't really scare me. So let Jokic do his thing, and then you body up everybody else. And I think the Grizzlies can beat him in a 7-game series. And the last one to round out my power rankings of what I had done for the playoffs for next year, Sacramento. Like they got better by adding Devin Carter. They're a team on the rise.
Still a rookie. Yeah.
He's still a rookie. They're a team on the rise. You know, Sabonis is an absolute rebounding machine. I think that this is a series. This is a team that Edey could really help us with because he's that big body. They could root out Sabonis, who is a double-double machine, like not discounting him at all. But then you add a guy who's 7'4", 300 pounds that has shown really, really high basketball IQ, understanding leverage and getting to the block and not being able to be moved. I think this is a team we match up well. You know, Harrison Barnes, notorious Grizz killer. De'Aaron Fox is really good. Keegan Murray. They got some young talent. But they don't scare me in a 7-game series.
Yeah, they're good. They're different. They're fast. You know, that's De'Aaron Fox is the only player that I've seen in the NBA that could keep up with the speed of Ja Morant, you know, on the defensive side. And so they're tricky. I think that they're a team that you really got to watch to trade for Lauri Markkanen. You know, if they can send Utah like Keegan Murray and some draft capital, they could get Lauri Markkanen, and that's tricky because you got Sabonis that'll play your 5. That's a non-shooter, and he could be a really big floor spacing 4. He could work out really well there. So that could change things, and maybe it's just my preconceived notions from the last 20 years watching the Kings. And it's going to bite me in the butt because I'm going to say it, but I've just really never respected them. You know.
Oh boy.
You know, I mean, it's just like
let's
the
hope
Browns.
we don't match
like
up with them now.
You've never really. The Browns won what 10, 12 games a couple years ago, and you just still never really thought they were going to do anything. They got beat in the first round. You know, just sorry.
Sacramento.
You know, it's just kind of cursed.
Yeah. And, you know, that's kind of our post-free agency Western Conference wrap-up. You know, the Suns are the Suns. They still have KD and Booker, and they can get hot and be streaky, but they've done nothing to get better. You've got the Lakers are an absolute dumpster fire. All their money is tied up in LeBron James and AD, and then they're giving Bronny a multi-year guaranteed contract, and it's silly what they're doing out there. It's an absolute sideshow. It's all the
slap
Lakers
in the
are.
face to all.
It really is.
Number 55 picks, but you know. Gary Parrish said it best when I heard him talk about it on his show is favoritism is played between fathers and sons and owners and sons throughout sport. This is just the most famous one.
Yeah.
And so you can't, you know, nepotism is a real thing and it happens in sports. So we can be outraged about LeBron and Bronny if you want to.
Oh, I'm not outraged at all. I absolutely love it. Like as a Grizzlies fan, I absolutely love it. Like guaranteeing him all the money. They've done nothing to get better. I mean, the previous like 5 picks number 55, like the most career earnings is like $750K. Like it's a massive deal
all
for that
two-way
spot.
Deals.
Yeah, all two-way deals. You know, you owe AD $239 million. Now you owe LeBron, I think, what was it, $152 million? Like it's year to year. 102. Like they're tying up all their money. They got $35 million in Rui guaranteed, 26 in Austin Reeves, 22 and Gabe Vincent, 34 and Jared Vanderbilt. Like there's not a lot of room for them to make moves, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so anyway, that's our post free agency wrap up. And if you got any differing thoughts, you think differently, please let us know in the comments. Hop in there and tell us where we're wrong. Tell us what you think. Tell us that we got it all wrong at the Grizzlies, our worst team in the NBA, because we haven't made any free agency moves. We would love to hear it. But here at the 2 Buck Sports Show, we care about our audience. We care about those who are not just here for the Memphis Grizzlies talk. We care about those that are going out this weekend to celebrate July 4th. Hopefully, you know, as you celebrated Jason Pierre-Paul Day yesterday, you were safe and we didn't have any incidents. Like, Drew, like as we're recording this right now, there are people that woke up this morning with 10 fingers for the last time in their lives.
That's true.
And so we hope that our audience members, hopefully it's not one of y'all and laid up in a hospital bed listening to this. If it is, everybody recovery.
Everybody charge your hover round batteries.
Let's back it up, Terry. Back it up. Right here in Memphis. Shout out Memphis. But hopefully you're not listening to this from a hospital bed in the med. If you are, speedy recovery. But we do care about y'all, and so it's going to be a hot one this weekend. It's been a hot one so far. It's hot today on the 4th. We here at the 2 Buck Sports Show care about y'all. We want to give you some ideas of the best way to cool off on this July 4th. So Uncle Buck, talking about ways that you can bring your temperature down. And when it's a hot, muggy, steamy day like we're going to have, I'll concede. Gentlemen, go first. What's your first way of cooling off for a hot July 4th weekend?
Well, this is a slam dunk. This is by going and hanging out by the pool, which is what 90% of you people are going to be doing on this holiday anyways, is hanging out by the pool. And so as you're listening to this, if I'm right, which I know I am, y'all hop in the comments and let everybody know that you were hanging out by the pool on July 4th. And so that's the slam dunk pick. I win.
Yeah, and go ahead and drop your location so we can come hang out with you at said pool, because I don't have one here in East Memphis. So for me, I'm going to harken back to a childhood, Drew, and it's a popsicle. Like when it's hot outside, whether you're 17 or 77, there are a few things that taste better than a good popsicle. I'm going to take all popsicles because I can. It's my pick. But I'm going to specifically mention push pops. You remember those, like the long, skinny push pops that you cut the lid off and you just roll them up? Like those are incredible popsicles.
No, stop. Remember the holiday.
I mean, bomb pops,
sure. Do the red rocket, the red, white, and blue rocket.
Yeah, the bomb pops are great. Like, I'm here for it. But, like, those Pop Ice, man, they always hit no matter how old. Like, some of our listeners, I don't love artificial cherries. I do like bomb pops, but I don't love the artificial cherry flavor. So that's why I lean more Pop Ice. But, hey, if for you, it's the strawberry shortcake bars. I don't care. Eat a popsicle to cool off this weekend. It's hot out there.
Yeah. For me, again, it goes perfectly with the pool. It goes perfectly with 4th of July. Cold beverages.
That's it.
Yeah. You do that what you please. Family-friendly show. Cold beverages. Okay?
Cold beverages.
Yeah. There is no more greater marriage than cold beverages in a pool. It's like
any
salt,
bottle
pepper,
of water.
mac and cheese. Cold beverage.
Any body of water, with a koozie and a cold beverage floating in a lake. To our South Carolina listeners, in the ocean, in a pool, matters not. Cold beverage is a win. But speaking of floating, for me, find you a pool, a body of water, and go float in a tube. Sit in a tube, whether it's an inner tube, whether it's a flamingo-shaped tube, a pineapple-shaped tube. If your tube is shaped like a flip-flop, I do not care. Hop on that floater.
Donut.
And a donut, sure. Yeah. Why not? Hop on there and float, man. Just have cold beverage in hand. Make sure you apply sunscreen because we don't want anybody looking like lobsters if you come on our show, especially looking at you, Uncle Buck. Hop on a float in some body of water.
Yeah, I'm with you. At least we can't all just take water. One person can't take all water activities because this is 4th of July. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Because I've got another one too, but I'm trying to decide. Oh, I guess you get another one, don't you?
We're just been going back and forth. We're kind of drafting. Okay. We're not snake. Okay. We're just going back and forth.
All right. So, because this was kind of last minute, I'm just kind of thinking of what I would do if I was just, and I would say ways to cool off. You've been outside by the pool with beverages on a float with a popsicle, and you just get too hot. Go inside. Watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Watch a movie. Take a nap.
No Joey Chestnut this year. Boo.
Yeah.
Go inside.
Just go inside and cool off, and then go back outside.
I like it. For me, I'm going to harken back to childhood again, thinking about popsicles and Pop Ice. Find you a sprinkler. Run through a sprinkler, whether it's a circle, whether it's a back and forth yard waterer, whether it's one that like taps the water like you see irrigation.
Just a water hose.
Just a water hose. Like have somebody hold their thumb on the end and spray you down. Sprinklers never go out of fashion.
Yeah. This is another one. Harken back to childhood. We grew up rural North Mississippi. I grew up on a cattle farm, and Rusty didn't grow up far away from me, although it was in a different decade. But when we got hot, we just go take a ride on the 4-wheeler. Now it's side by side, but just go hop on the 4-wheeler and go for a ride.
ATVs are a great way to cool off. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get the wind blowing through your hair.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got any left.
Yeah, don't be like the $2. Have hair left. This is another play on water. Again, we're thinking about cooling off. We're thinking about childhoods. If you're bigger or older, please be careful. But slip and slides are always a win. Slip and slides, man. Throw your little Dawn dish soap on there to make it extra slick. Find you a slip and slide and head down that bad boy. Head first, feet first, matters not. Belly flop, back flop, posing. Hit that slip and slide.
Yeah, you go. And don't. No, if you're a respectable person, you don't go feet first. You go head first every time. You're going into second base head first. Okay.
That's it.
Don't be a weenie.
I'm looking out for our older or people who might get hurt.
Maybe that's how you know when you need to stay off the slip and slides, when you can't go head first.
There was a video, I shared it to my little groups that I always share my little memes to on Instagram, and this guy doing a slip and slide. He tried to run down and he had his shirt buttoned all the way down. Have you seen it? And he hits the end, goes feet first, and when he lands, his shirt goes boop and pops open. His big old belly pops out like an airbag, and it's incredible.
I think I have seen that one. My last pick, this will be number 5 for me. And this is more of an activity that you do when it's hot outside. It's not necessarily how to cool down, but it's a fun activity to do when it's hot outside, and that's go get in a kayak and go float the river.
Yeah.
So if you know it's going to be hot outside and you don't want to stay inside all day, go get in a kayak. You can hop off, go find a nice shaded little river that you can go. Just be lazy. We're not setting records here. Pack you a sandwich, pack you some cold beverages, put in your cooler, and just go float at the pace that the current takes you.
Absolutely. Uncle Buck and I have been known to frequent the Buffalo River outside of Waynesboro, Tennessee, hitting up the Crazy Horse Kayak Company and floated the 20-mile, the 10-mile, and had a good old time. That's it, man. Had some good old times on the banks of that river. But I'm going to stay in the boat family. You took kayak specifically. You never want to be the friend with a boat, but you want to be friends with somebody who has a boat. Find you a pontoon boat. Play pontoon by Little Big Town, and just float on Pickwick Lake, Grenada Lake, Enid Lake, Smith Mountain Lake. I don't care what lake you can get to, but go make a new friend. If you don't know anybody, bring extra beer or beverages and extra snacks and stand on the dock and be like, yo, y'all need somebody else to float on your pontoon with you. We don't care. It's all about making friends.
Bring your own life jacket. Bring your own floating extracurricular floating device. Little tip. I don't have any problem sharing this with you guys, and I don't care what you think about me. It's a pro tip from a career lake goer in myself. Take your life jacket, put your feet through the armholes, button it in front, wear it like a diaper, and you just sit and you bob like a bobber in the water.
Oh, my gosh.
It is like a lazy boy in a river. And yes, you look ridiculous.
Doesn't matter.
But only when you get out of the pool. I mean, when you get out of the water, because nobody sees you and you're just like, man, that dude's treading water really good. And you're just like, yeah, I
guarantee you look less ridiculous than the grown man sitting on a unicorn float. So you're fine. Or just treading water. Absolutely. That's it. Just like floating above the water. Absolutely. You heard it here first from the lake expert. Sit in a life jacket. Enjoy a body of water. Guys, this might be the fastest $2 sports show you have ever got or will ever get. So if this is our best show, as Uncle Buck said, please like, share, comment, follow us on social media where you see at the bottom, and tell us hey guys, be brief, button it up. We don't want to listen to you for an hour and a half. We want to listen for an hour, and we'll happily try to oblige. No guarantees from two loudmouths like we are, but it's a ton of fun, Drew.
Lots of information. We're sitting at the 54.5-minute mark here. Lots of information. I felt like we were on our game today. Maybe it's because you allowed us to have a practice run 2 nights ago.
That's it. So. You're welcome. And because the first lady of the $2 Sports Show, Haley Gann, said, y'all have a solid hour or that's it.
So I enjoyed it, Rusty. I hope you have a happy 4th. Just download the episode. Don't feel like you got to do it all tonight. Okay. Enjoy your 4th. We're going to enjoy ours. We're going to get out the door here in just a few minutes. So I enjoyed it. I hope everybody stays safe. Light the bottle rockets, stick it in a jar. Don't hold it.
Don't hold it.
It's really hard to type with less than 10 fingers.
It is. We want all of our fans to have all 10 fingers for another year. So please, and if you're one of the unfortunate souls who didn't do that, just know our hearts go out to you. We'll be thinking about you.
Yeah. Everybody hop in the comments. Hop in our Twitter, show us proof of life for all 10 fingers when you listen to this. We'll know you made it out the other side with 10 fingers and 10 toes.
That's it. Hey, listen, man, it's always fun, but there are no refunds for the $2 Sports Show.
Yeah, because with us two, you always get what you pay for, which ain't much, but have a good 4th of July.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.